But joining us on the Tuesday edition of Running Point is head coach of the Canfield Cardinals and Mike Pavlansky as we get him up on the broadcast. Coach, how are we doing today?
Doing fine. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. It's great to hear from you and great to kind of have you on this new format where we can see your face and see your reactions and be able to hear from you.
Sounds good.
All right, so as we talk about this upcoming season, I know a lot of people have probably asked you about this Poland matchup, huge rivalry, brother versus brother. But I'm kind of interested in the rest of the schedule and how it is to balance such an emotional game and try to still think of it as one game on the schedule and not put too much of a stamp on it.
I think that's a great point. There's no doubt about the Poland game being very special to both communities and schools and to the teams. And but after August 19th, when you wake up August 20th, you still got 9 games to go. And, if you could put together a really good run, you're still going to be an opportunity to have it be in the playoffs. If not, if you let that one game affect the rest of the year, then obviously, your goals aren't going to be obtained.
Is that one of the tough things of opening with such a big rival is trying to open with such an emotional game and trying to stay even keel and plateau after it?
Well, we've never done this before, so we're in uncharted waters, and so we're gonna rely on some coaches at all levels that have opened up with their rivals or played big ball games first, and then go from there and see what they have to say. But I think right now the way we're approaching it is that it certainly is a tremendous opener for not only ourselves but for the whole valley to watch and see, and then again, wake up August 20th, make your corrections, whether you win or lose, and move on to week 2, because in week 2 we have Dover. If you lick your wounds too much if you lose, and if you believe in yourself too much if you win, then Dover's going to get you.
And I know for the next couple of weeks you're going to be focused solely on that Poland game. But, man, you look at the rest of this schedule, what a schedule you have put together. What's it kind of like to look at this schedule and realize the challenge that's going to be ahead of you guys all season?
Absolutely. The type of schedule we want our kids to play, they want to play and put themselves in a week in and week out, opportunity to prove themselves on the football field. And if you look too far down the road, then whoever you're playing that week, whether it be a Cleveland JFK, a Dover, a Cheney, an East, whoever it may be, you're not going, if you're not concentrated on that one ball game, you're not giving yourself the best opportunity to win.
What's that kind of, you've always put together a tough schedule, and it's not something that you shy away from. So when you're putting together a schedule, what kind of things do you look for, and what kind of things do you kind of pride in a tough schedule?
Well, I think the first thing you look for is, some great matchups, and matchups that will prepare you for the postseason run. And that means playing some power teams, playing some teams that spread it out and go no huddle and go real fast. And then finally, we want to take a long trip. Somewhere in the year, we're going to take a trip of about an hour, hour and a half somewhere, get on buses so our kids get used to, hey, this is a long trip, get to the visiting stadium and change and get ready for a ball game. And so when you happen to do that in the playoffs, it's not new to you. And this year, our long trip is going to be down to New Philadelphia, who's a state-ranked program year in and year out. And expect that to be a whale of a game.
Yeah, not only a long trip, but it's going to be a long trip that's going to be worth it, because it should be a heck of a game, as you said. Kind of different than taking a long trip for a team that you could step over easily. You're taking that long trip and making that trip worth it.
Yeah, again, we want to put our kids in the most competitive situations possible around Northeast Ohio, and I think Mike Cochran, our AD, has done a great job of that.
Now, when you look at some of the teams on your schedule, like you said, New Philadelphia, you have Dover, you have Pleasant, obviously the Boardman and the Howland and the teams that you play locally, you made such a good run last year. How do you kind of build off of last year and go into this tough schedule and try to continue that success that you built off from last season?
It's like any off season. You go and you do your film work and put together what was good, what wasn't good, and start building for the next year. You see who you have coming back, and you build around those guys. And I think our kids, there's no doubt, they should have a lot of confidence. Our seniors, in the last 2 years, Winning 9 games last year, winning 7 games the previous year, and being in the playoffs last year, going to the regional finals. They should feel good about themselves, but also know that they understand how much hard work it takes to get to that level. And sitting here July 27th, we're certainly not anywhere near that level, but our guys are working to get there.
In this business, everything changes every year. You can't have the same team that you had last year. What kind of things are going to be different from the team this year from the team last year?
Well, the first thing is different is the experience on the offensive and defensive lines. We're replacing some tremendous linemen from last year. We only have Nick Bowen back as a left tackle on the offensive line, so we're going to have from tight end to tackle 5 new starters there. And we're those guys are working hard. Obviously, we're concerned going into week 1 with the experience factor. We like our guys; they're working tremendously hard in the film room and on the football field for us. But you never know how they're going to react when they get underneath the lights of a Thursday night ball game against their rival. Conversely, defensive line wise is the same thing. We have juniors Jimmy Scher and Don Marzano that shared the noseman position for us last year as sophomores, the only returning guys up front for us. And, anytime you play the game of football in Northeast Ohio, you'll go as far as your offensive and defensive lines will take you. And, right now, that is the least experienced positions on the field for us.
And knowing that going in, what were some of the off-season conversations with your staff about the strategy to kind of to take a little bit of the pressure off of them, and the strategy to kind of get their feet wet and get them experience and try to have them ready by August 19th?
Well, certainly, what we try to do in the offseason, just get bigger, faster, stronger. And as a staff, you're putting together, what can your skill kids do? What can your linemen do? And we're throwing everything at them right now in the month of July. And we're going to start paring that thing back here August 2nd to see what we can do very, very well. The things we didn't do well in July, we'll probably put on the back burner, and then, really concentrate on what those guys did well in the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, like you said, August 2nd is coming very fast. I'm sure you guys are itching to kind of get the official practices started. What's it going to be like to August 2nd rolls around and you guys really get the feeling that football season is really close and you guys are going?
Yeah, it's neat because it's the next step, but it's short. We get to August 2nd, you're 2.5 weeks out of playing the first ball game. In the past, you had 3 weeks of practice in August and then played your first ball game. Here it's only 2 and playing your first ball game. So it's going to be incumbent upon our staff to see what we need work on the most, work on that, fine tune what we do well, and make sure we have as much in and ready to go for week 1.
You still have 2 scrimmages to use in those 2 weeks, but now, like you said, only 2 weeks to use them. What's it like trying to navigate that where usually you'd have 3 weeks for 2 scrimmages, but now you got to fit them in 2 weeks? What kind of things are you guys planning to navigate through that?
Well, we've chosen not to have 2 scrimmages. We'll have our inter squad scrimmage on August 7th that we always have, our red white, and then the next week on August 12th, a week before our opener, we'll scrimmage Louisville at our place and get our work in. We just feel that it's more beneficial to us, to be teaching a lot more than going and scrimmaging.
And when you talk about this community, and I'm sure they're just as excited as you guys are, and they finally get to fill that stadium and they finally get to kind of have a sense of normalcy in the community. How excited do you think the community is to kind of get back to Canfield and get back to Canfield football and really support you guys in person?
I think our community's top notch. There's no doubt about that. And it's like most communities, they're looking forward to watching games on the weekend, on Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. And, I expect over at Poland on August 19th for that place to be packed, and people from both communities and fans from elsewhere to be real excited for that ball game. It'll be a playoff atmosphere. There's no doubt about that. And then when we have our home opener against Dover the following week, I expect Bob Dove Field, Cardinal Stadium to be rocking.
I like to give the coaches the chance to talk about their staffs because I don't think their staffs get enough time in the light. And I know head coaches wouldn't be where they were without the good staff behind them. So talk about the staff that you have currently and what they each kind of bring to your program.
Fortunate we've had an experienced staff. On the offensive side, Angelo Simonero is our offensive line coach. He's been with us now. I think he's going on his 9th year. He's assisted by Jack Palani. Jack played for us and graduated in 2016 and headed off to med school here soon. And we're hoping to keep him as long as possible before he goes into the next phase of his life. In the backfield, Jim Pluchinski's our running back coach. He's been with us for 3 years now. And out wide, we have a new receiver coach in Jason Morrell, who's doing a great job with our wideouts. And who we call our offensive assistant is Matt Cobfeld. Matt's been with us for 9 years also. And, really does a great job studying film and helping us call plays on Friday nights from the press box. From a defensive standpoint, Wally Hurdley's our defensive coordinator. People know who Wally is and well thought of in the area, one of the better defensive coordinators in our area, and we're fortunate to have him teaching and coaching in Canfield. And then on defensive line is a new guy, Joe Ignazio, came over from Boardman as our head coach. Him and his family living in Canfield. His daughter's going to be a freshman at Canfield High School this year, and we're excited to have Joe be a part of our staff. Brings a great experience from Boardman coaching for a lot of years. And then outside linebacker, Dan DiGiacomo. Dan is the senior assistant on our staff. He's been with us since 2004. And he'll coach outside linebackers. And Cameron Terashati is, again, a former player of ours back in the early 2010s and has been with us as a middle school coach, a freshman coach, and this is his 2nd year as a varsity coach, and they'll handle the DBs this year. Real fortunate to have a tremendous staff that puts in a lot of time away from the field, studying film, talking to players, trying to get them better, developing relationships, and just fortunate as a head coach that I can rely on those guys that to speak up in meetings, and if something I need to be away for something, they'll be fine without me.
A lot of former players. How much pride does it give you to know that players that have played for the program want to come back and fill into it as a coach?
There's no doubt that to see those guys come back and give back to the younger kids in the community and be a part of our staff and watching them grow as a coach is certainly special. And, again, to have not just Cameron and Jack, but, we've had many, many former players back with us and, just for a day or two or for a year, whatever it may be, to help the young kids. That continuity is good.
Every Canfield coach we talk to, whether it be the basketball, baseball, softball, they all talk about the working with each other in the school and the tight-knit community that all the coaches are in the athletic department. From your perspective, what's it like working with a school system that is so tight-knit in their athletic department and knowing that you can go to any coach, whether it be the basketball coach or the baseball coach, and really just talk to them about the kids and talk to them about the jobs that you guys are doing?
Yeah, credit Mike Conker for that. Our athletic director encourages all head coaches to make sure their kids are playing multiple sports. And, guys like Dean Conley, Steve Pitts in the wrestling realm, and, Todd McElroy, the basketball coach, Matt Canning, and Gary Niddle in the baseball realm. If there's an athlete that we're missing, they're certainly going to say something. We're going to say something to them, too, that, hey, this guy may be able to help you out. You may want to look at him, talk to him. If a multiple sport player is having trouble in a sport, let's say it's basketball season or baseball season, they know they can come to us and we can sit down, and just sit down and talk and see what's on the young man's mind and see how we can help. And, there's no doubt, I'm not too sure how I would be able to operate in a system where the head coaches aren't on the same page and allowing kids to play multiple sports. They get to the collegiate level, they're going to specialize into one sport. The high school level, you should play as many sports as possible. Coaches should share those athletes and have them create memories with their buddies.
What are some of the goals, the off-season goals that you've set for the team this year, and on that checklist, that preseason checklist that you make of things that you want to accomplish?
Yeah, they're the same as always. You hit the winter time, you just want kids to get to the weight room, dedicate themselves there, get bigger, faster, stronger. If they're not in the weight room, they better be playing another sport. That's the only excuse really to miss the weight room. And then, as you get into the summertime, you want to build for the whole season. The month of June and July for us is not for one game. It's for the whole season. Are we preparing ourselves to play 10 games plus? And then obviously when you get down to August, starting next week, we'll start honing in on Poland and, what they're doing and what we do well, and, see if we can put together a solid game plan.
When you look at the leaders that you might have on the field this year and the players that you're going to lean on to lead this team emotionally and by example, who are some of the leaders that you think you're going to lean on a lot?
Well, yeah, it's our senior class. There's no doubt. You're only as good as your seniors are. And like we tell them in individual meetings in the springtime, then as a senior team meeting, they got to have their best year that they've been around our program. And it doesn't have to be that they have to start both ways. They have to carry the ball so many times. They have great practice here. They better practice as well as they've ever practiced with us, because then that sets the tone for the juniors and the sophomores. And, again, we've talked about Nick Bone up front being a leader. The other seniors, in the backfield, you've got a Toby Smith and a Michael Crawford, a Drew Carosi in the slot, who's also a backup quarterback, Paolo Paplia, tailback, who's a slot receiver for us. Those guys, and I'm sure I'm missing a few, but those guys need to have a great practice year. And if they do that, those young guys, you're going to see that they're going to come along, and we're going to have the best chance for success.
What about some new players or some new names that fans might want to look out for this year that maybe weren't as impactful or making new steps on this varsity squad?
We got a lot of guys. You want to talk about green? There are a lot of guys up front that are just flat out new. The tight end position, you've got Hunter Knotts is a junior, Aiden Rogers is a junior, Jake Pratt, one of the guys that we talked about, sharing athletes. Jake is a baseball player and never played football before. And, the coaches said, hey, listen, he's got 1 year left. Why don't you talk to him, see if he come out? He came to us, and he's doing a tremendous job at tight end also for us. And it's great to have him out. Interior tackle, centers, guards, wherever they end up. Guys like a Dom DiDonato, a Jimmy Scherer, an AJ Murphy, and Evan Parker, Connor Miller. Those guys are doing a tremendous job inside for us, getting better every day. And they're flipping over to the defensive line also. So it's going to be by committee up front early on until, we find some guys rising to the top. Out wide, we've got all new receivers out there, and Oliver Kovacs that played defensive back for us last year. Senior, great leader, state placer in the long jump this year in Division I, set a school record for us. And he's doing a great job at wideout NDB. And, on the other side, you've got seniors Jaden Jaffer and Zane McElroy and Connor Serneka. There's enough guys. It's just a matter of getting them to the right spots. And those guys continue to work.
All right, Coach, before we let you go, I know you've had multiple players go on to the next level. What's it like kind of watching players that you've coached go and succeed at the next level and be able to kind of fill out a little bit more of their dreams?
It's neat to watch the progression. There's no doubt about that young men go on to college and want to play and continue their football careers. And, as you stay in touch with them, that they're having success. And, certainly brings a sense of pride to us, but also, it gives some notoriety to their buddies that played for Canfield, that the Canfield football program's a solid program. Those guys come from, and, when they get to the next level, they're ready to compete.
All right, head coach of the Canfield football team, Mike Pavlansky, thank you so much for joining us on Running Point. Great to hear from you, and we definitely will hear from you again pretty soon as the season gets closer.
Appreciate it. Look forward to talking to you guys again.
All right, and that is Coach Pavlansky on Running Point.